Well, hey there. Good morning. Welcome to Garden America. We say good morning because at this point in time when we do say good morning, it is live. However, at certain parts of the day or night, when you're listening to the pre-recorded show, it could be any time of the day or night, Tiger. Anyway, we are back in studio from the iHeart Media and Entertainment Studios, San Diego, California. John Bagnasco, Tiger Palafox, Brian Main, and a weird contraption next to John. I don't know if they've seen it yet live, Tiger.
It's on it now, yeah.
But we've got this contraption. This is going to set the stage for what the show's about today.
Yeah, what is the show about? Tiger brought in some gift ideas, for green thumbs.
Yeah.
Right.
I think in some ways they might be the easiest people to buy for.
I mean, we've talked about it before. If you really want to make a gardener happy, you just buy a bag of potting soil, a bag of good potting soil.
That's exactly right.
They're super happy because
that's exactly
they'll
right.
always use it.
So we got the gift ideas, and then we've been promising for a month. People have been asking, can you show us how to root cuttings? And tied into the gift idea is this setup to root cuttings in. So we'll be talking about that.
Yeah, because that was a gift that you got or you bought for yourself.
I got it for my birthday, but to be honest, the way I got it,
it came out of the same bank account.
Went online, Amazon, decided what I wanted, and I said, "Hey, honey, come here. Want to see what you're getting me for my birthday?"
Push the buy now button, please.
And she came, and the mouse was all set up. I said, "Just click that right there."
It's not a terrarium. It's not an aquarium. It is a propagation station.
All right, I'll buy that.
I was waiting for you to rhyme it with an eum.
Oh, and
propagatium.
Propagatium.
A propagatium. Okay. Anyway, that's going to be a big part of the show today, along with gift ideas. We hope that you had a good Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
You've got the tryptophan hangover going this morning, whatever else you have in terms of leftovers.
I wonder if our dogs, so I gave my dogs a lot of turkey scraps left over and stuff like that. And they definitely later in the night, I wonder if the tryptophan hits them the same.
Probably.
Because they were out. They were sitting in the middle of the floor.
That's great.
And people were stepping all around them, and they would not even move. It was funny.
Yeah. Why wouldn't it, right?
Well, we have a lot to be thankful for. I'm thankful for both you guys and all our listeners.
Everybody involved in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Tiger and I discussed this before the show about being thankful for you.
Yeah.
Jury's still out, but we're leaning toward being thankful.
Oh, that's nice.
It's looking good, John. Real good.
One of I told you before the show, and it's no secret, and I'll take the blame for it. We had like the worst turkey we ever had. It was disgusting. But,
Was it like a Chevy Chase Thanksgiving going on there?
But I'm thankful that I had that to complain about.
Yeah.
Think about people all over the world.
Yep.
That lack so much, and here I get to complain about the turkey.
We call that a first world problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So put everything in perspective.
Well, what was the highlight then? If the turkey
all
took
the sides
backseat,
that Shannon made were delicious.
What was one of the highlight sides?
Her stuffing was fantastic. She makes a broccoli casserole that's really good because it's got Velveeta cheese in it and Ritz crackers. How can you beat that?
This is in the broccoli casserole?
Yeah.
Well, that kind of nullifies the broccoli, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's like
gets rid of the taste of the broccoli.
It's a healthy carrier for all these other wonderful
things. It's like,
things.
healthy Velveeta. What? What are you doing? But I'm sure the taste is incredible.
The Velveeta cheese has got a lot of good attributes. One, it doesn't have to be refrigerated. Well, they don't even put it with the cheese in the store.
Yeah. Do they even call it cheese? I think they just call it yellow spread.
It's processed cheese food. That's one step below the spray cheese, right? Yeah. It comes out of the little bottle.
I think it's
Cheese
one
whiz?
step above.
Cheese whiz?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? Cheese
Something
whiz?
like that. Yeah, processed cheese food.
Hey, you want to know something funny? So we had a guest. We hosted. So we did the turkey and the ham, and then people brought sides. And so one of the persons brought the green bean casserole. And they brought over two, and they sat them both on the counter, and then they put a tag, and this one had bacon, and this one did not.
Right.
And I was like, why did you do two, and one with bacon and one without?
For vegans.
Well,
Vegetarians.
I don't think it was a casserole that was vegan to begin with. So I don't think it was that.
Okay.
So I asked him. I said, "Why did you do this too?" And he's like, "Oh, well, I didn't know if people maybe didn't like bacon."
Right.
And I was like, "I don't know of anyone." I mean, I looked at when the people had finally gone through the buffet line of food, the bacon one was gone. Like there wasn't anything left. And then the one without bacon was still full. And I was like,
Yeah, bacon's pretty much good on everything.
"All right."
Yeah.
Do you know one of the best green bean mixes that we used to have growing up is that we would grow Romano beans, which I think are some of the best tasting beans out there, but grow Romano beans, and then my mom would mix Romano beans with potatoes.
In the casserole?
Yeah, so you would cut up the potatoes, boil them, but just in chunks. And then you mix the two together with salt and vinegar and oil.
It's kind of like what you do on your plate already, right? Don't you just kind of mix that all together?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But
That
the
sounds
Romano
delicious.
beans were the key.
Yeah, sounds delicious.
Tanya says this now that they had last-minute host issues, so her daughter-in-law went over to Costco and bought a turkey dinner there.
Oh,
Said it was fantastic and only $40.
$40.
Yeah.
Not bad, right?
sweet.
See, I should have. The first clue to me should have been that the turkey was $11. Like, this is.
But you overcooked it, right?
Well, no, he's saying it wasn't even.
I don't know. I don't know what it
good.
was. I told you that Shannon and Jesse said we didn't even know they had 7-pound turkeys. It really looked like a big chicken.
Like a big Cornish game hen.
Oh, no, it was bigger than a Cornish game hen.
Okay.
Oh,
Maybe that's what you should have had.
it would have been better. It would have been
Have
much
you-
better.
Have you seen those videos of people that don't quite understand
How to cook a turkey?
reproduction, and they cook the turkey, and kind of like the turducken,
Yeah,
they'll
right.
stuff like the little Cornish hen or small chicken
Sure.
in the turkey, and then they'll tell someone to go pull, like open up the turkey or whatever, and they open up and they're like, they think they cooked like a mom turkey with a
with
baby
the
turkey
baby.
in it, and it's so funny to watch these people's reaction to be like, they think that they actually cooked a baby
turkey.
and they were able to pull it out. Anyways, it just kind of reminds me when John says, "I didn't know they made 7-pound turkey." That is funny because you can actually fit a good number of small creatures in a turkey cavern when you cook a large turkey.
Putting small creatures in there?
Well, like a turducken.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
right?
yeah.
Like, what is a turducken? It's a turkey, a chicken, and a duck.
and a
right?
duck.
See,
Right.
my first thought was, even if I did think it was a baby turkey in there, it's like, why it would have been born without a head. So.
Oh, there's so much other, or feathers, or
Of any of that.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, so the newsletter.
Pumpkin pie. Pumpkin pie was my highlight.
Yeah,
Oh,
with,
good
you have to
Look
have
forward to pumpkin pie every
a
year.
dollop of Cool Whip on it.
No, Cool Whip, the Ready Whip.
Absolutely. You're doing it wrong if you don't put Cool Whip on there.
I can't do Cool Whip.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, yeah, and happy birthday to Brian.
Oh, yeah.
It was his birthday.
Yeah,
right?
another year. Another trip around to the sun.
72?
72. Yeah, 72. Yeah.
I never remember how old you are.
72, exactly. Okay, so the newsletter. Anybody that got the newsletter, tell us what it is on John's lips. We don't
You
know.
had to point that out.
John
I think-
doesn't know.
I'm surprised we haven't gotten comments about it yet.
But more than that, he's got a quote by
John Lennon.
an English lad from Liverpool.
You want the quote?
I want the quote. We got
Okay, from John Lennon.
absolutely. The ex-Beatle.
Yeah. He said, "We've got this gift of love, but love's like a precious plant. You can't just accept it and leave it in the cupboard and just think it's going to get on by itself. You got to keep watering it. You've got to really look out after it and nurture it."
You know that term, how it's going to get on? That is such an English-Australian term. Like they'll say, let's take a look at these boys here as they perform for us, and let's see how they get on.
Yeah, that's their
Yeah, let's see how they
terminology.
get on. Let's see how they do it. Let's see what happens.
Were the Beatles? Was that All You Need Is Love?
Yep,
Was that the song?
absolutely. Live. It was actually it was broadcast around the world, satellite, to like millions of people. Never been done before.
Oh, really?
Yep, it was live around the world. The next guy that did a satellite broadcast was Elvis in '73 in Hawaii.
And that still is one of the most watched
Yep.
live TV broadcasts ever.
Yes. Well, you know how
Yeah.
many people tuned in to see the Beatles on Ed Sullivan in '64? 72 million people.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's
There's
back in
72
'64.
million.
I don't think everyone had a TV set back then.
Yeah, there was 8 people per TV.
Yeah, look at you. You know what? There's a joke in there, but I am
People
not
didn't
gonna touch that.
have color TVs for sure back then.
Some did.
Yeah,
but
but I mean, for the most part, they were
Right.
still black and white.
yeah,
Was it Wizard of Oz that came out color?
yes.
Right? It starts black and white,
When they get to the land of Oz, it becomes
goes
color.
color. And isn't that like one of the first movies that became color?
One of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Some-
Gone with the Wind was around the same time.
And that
But
was
they were the
color
same
also?
year, 1939.
That was done in Technicolor.
You know what else?
I don't even know what Technicolor is.
39 was the year for The Wizard of Oz. It was the year for Mr. Smith Goes to Washington and
That
Gone
was
with the
black
Wind.
and white.
Hey, we got to take a break. We're going to come right back with more here on Garden America. No guest today. We're going to propagate roses, John. Is that right?
No, just show you how to propagate cuttings.
Cuttings,
We're doing
okay.
roses because they're difficult. So if you can do the rose, you can do
Okay.
anything.
Stay with us back after these messages from our good friends on Biz Talk Radio. We are back from the break, and again, those on Biz Talk Radio, thank you so much for tuning in. Today's going to be a very visual show, so if you do want to join us live on Facebook, just go to our Facebook page, Garden America Radio Show, each and every week. Watch us live on Facebook. You can comment. You can, I was going to say subscribe. You don't need to subscribe. You can comment. You can ask questions and be part of the show
You
by
have to
going
subscribe to the newsletter.
well, the newsletter, and by that, you go to our website, right, John? GardenAmerica.com?
Yeah, and if you have troubles with that, just send me a note to John at
GardenAmerica.com,
gardenamerica.com, and I'll sign you up.
And you'll get the newsletter with all the pretty plants and the articles every weekend and quotes from John Lennon and so on and so forth.
Well, and there's also directions on how to propagate cuttings in this week's newsletter. So if you don't quite get it from what we're doing visually, you don't have to take notes because it's right there in the newsletter, Brian.
It's right there.
Yeah.
We make it easy. How do we do it, John?
Volume.
Volume. That's how we do it.
Have you ever propagated a cutting?
You and I did one time years ago together.
Really?
I came to your house, but we didn't have the fancy setup
You
like
did.
this.
You've grown succulents from cuttings.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
But never a rose.
No.
Is that what we did when you came to my house?
Yes, we did a rose.
Yeah, I think that was 10 easy steps.
And I brought it home in
Oh.
a little pot.
Did it grow?
It grew.
Did it?
Oh, there was growth.
Well, anyway, do you want to talk about?
Should we do the gifts first and then do the cutting class?
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's
because that
do
cutting
Because I
class
think-
is going to take a while.
Well, not only that, I think that the gift is part of the cutting class. So,
Right.
Yeah.
And
First
when you
off,
say
I
cutting
want to
class,
say
go ahead. I'm
I
sorry.
want to say thank you to Carla because she made a comment that Tiger, your music knowledge is amazing.
Yeah, but was that tongue in cheek?
Yeah, I think so.
music knowledge.
Because I do the all you need is love.
But
from the
I
Beatles.
think every week you learn from John and I.
I do.
You
I
take
do.
that.
I do
you know,
learn
home
every
with
week.
you.
I'm learning.
We learned about Ariana Grande from Tiger this morning before the show.
Exactly. And I did want to hit. Rochelle had a quick top question, and it was any news on the trip. And Rochelle, I would say that right now we're looking at a trip more in 2026 because hotels were difficult,
Right.
kind of last minute stuff. So we don't have any news to give out, and it won't be anything probably within this year because it would be a later. We want to plan more so we can arrange it
Well,
better.
as you always say, do it right.
Yep, exactly.
She might have been also referring to the one we were talking about, the Philadelphia
Right.
Flower Show.
Which is too late. Hotels booked. and-
Yeah, hotels were completely booked nearby. So
Yeah.
you would have had to, hour plus drives to get to it.
Yeah.
It was too much.
And it's all about convenience.
Yep. So I just want to hit the real quick. So gardener gifts for the holidays.
Everything in here is something I would love, and I think all of us would love.
Yes.
With what
Love
you have
both
there.
you guys.
Yeah.
What's that?
I love both you guys.
Of course you do. A lot of love in this room. All you
lot
need
of
is
love.
love.
Yeah.
I'll start. I think my number one gift for myself or a gardener is the pair of nitrile gloves. Nitrile gloves are just a thin glove with a rubber on the bottom of them. and they're real flexible. They're not a thick glove like for pruning or thorny or shrub.
You could still get stabbed by a rose bush.
You could still easily get stabbed by a rose bush. But day-to-day gardening where you just want to have your hands protected from the elements in so many ways, but you don't want that big, bulky leather glove.
And still have a good feel
Exactly.
for what you're doing.
Are excellent. And they're usually pretty inexpensive. And the
Did
reason
you
why
want to hold those gloves up?
Sure. And the reason why I kind of like them as a gift is because they're also one of those gifts that like here, I'll do this. They're also one of the gifts that I'm sure every gardener has like a pair of these, and they don't ever buy themselves new ones because they're always like, oh, I'll just keep wearing it. I'll just keep wearing it. And if somebody gave me a new pair, I would instantly throw out my old pair and
Yes.
put on the new ones.
Exactly.
I just don't go and buy them all the time for myself. So
See, I can't get to that part.
What, throwing them away?
Throwing away the old ones.
Really?
I've got maybe 8 pairs of gloves, and 7 of them don't have any fingers anymore.
see,
And I don't use them.
but you just don't throw them away.
No, I can't bring myself to throw them away.
See,
I
like
keep
I
thinking,
could.
I wonder if I could use this for something.
So
I
your
love
fingers
'em.
stick out. The
Yeah, but
fingers are
maybe
gone.
if
What's the
you
point of having it?
put 2 together,
oh,
I don't know.
gracious.
I really should throw them out.
Well, some gloves come that way, right? Where there's no fingers.
No fingers. Yeah, if you're like a trigger man or
Yeah, exactly.
it's something I don't know. But yeah, so that's probably like my number one gift because it's something that I think every gardener uses or will use, but they're easy, inexpensive, and they probably already have a pair, like I said. And if they're probably getting old, then they would throw them out and take the new ones.
Right.
So,
I have no trouble throwing old gloves away.
No.
Bring in the new ones.
yeah, and nothing bad against like the leather thick gloves. These are not to replace that. These are just, hey, you're working in the gardening and you're digging and you're moving stuff around and you just want that little bit of extra protection.
It's part of your garden tool belt.
Yes.
You may have thick gloves. You may have thin gloves.
Yeah.
You may have chisels. You may have.
Chisels.
Well, if you have decomposed
Chisels.
granite, for decomposed granite, right?
Chisels.
Oh.
You're out there. Actually, well, we've got a lot of interesting
Yeah.
things over here we
Well,
can
we
talk
got a lot
about.
of glove questions now.
Oh, okay.
All right. Veronica wants to know, how thin are they?
Oh.
She can't plant with her gloves on, so she's got to take them off.
Oh no, these are thin that you can plant.
They look like medical gloves almost.
Yeah, they're
from the
thin
bottom.
that you can plant. In some of them, you'll even see them. These ones are nitrile touch, and it's because these ones also they let you operate your phone. Because some gloves you can't answer a phone call or like dial. These gloves will actually allow you to like
Scroll.
manipulate your phone and everything as you're working as well.
Do you have to wear purple? Can you
yes,
get blue?
they come in all varieties of color.
Your hand looked huge on screen there when you were
It's like right
demonstrating.
next to the camera.
My
That's
gosh.
why, right?
I'd rather have blue, I think, instead of purple.
I'll get you pink.
I'd rather have green to match the garden.
And Carla wants to know the brand on those gloves. She couldn't
This-
see it. Right.
This is Bellington Glove Nitrile Touch. So I'll hold it up there. But I mean, like I said, like you go to any garden center and they're going to have some brand of these gloves. And usually they're, like I say, pretty inexpensive and they last a good amount of time. They're not a forever glove. I'll be honest and say that they are not a forever.
Yeah, it's like a lighter.
Yeah. Yeah. You just pick one up.
When you're done, throw it away.
Throw it away.
Kevin thinks you're a great glove model.
Thanks, Kevin.
Of course, you were a hand model back in the day, weren't you?
Oh, goodness.
I was thinking, since you guys brought this up, Marguerite said she just thought that I had cherry chapstick.
on his
Oh,
lips. for his
okay.
picture.
Yeah. I really don't have any idea how that came out that way.
You can always Photoshop that. Just use the
I
same
think that's what he
picture.
did was photoshopped it. It came out that way.
Take it out next
Take out
week.
cherry lips.
Yeah, just put flesh color lips on there.
I can go back to
you
the
just
old
make 'em-
picture. I just put new pictures for you guys, so I thought I should use a new
But-
one.
You make your lips like dark purple, and then you could put like black eyeliner, and you could be total. Like,
Yeah, there you
goth.
go. Hey, we're going to take a
Maybe
break,
some
though.
dark
I don't
blue
want
hair.
I don't want this to get out of hand here. I want to take a break here. Stay on format. So do stay with us, obviously. Keep the questions, the comments coming on Facebook as we're having a good time in studio today. Brian Main, John Bagnasco, Tiger Palafox, taking a break for Biz Talk Radio and great supporting sponsors, including our major sponsor, Fertilome. Back after these messages. And just like that, talk about a quick break for Facebook Live. A bit longer on Biz Talk Radio. Thank you to Fertilome and our sponsors, John.
Barely caught my breath there.
I know.
By the way, you guys made me sound weird holding on to all those old gloves. But John says the same thing.
I don't think you're weird. I just said I couldn't bring myself to hold on to them. No,
I don't hold on to them. I just set them there on the table.
And just go by and look at them every now and then, right?
Somebody commented they're like trophies. He hangs them up in his garage on the wall.
I could. That's where the Gophers are, though.
Yeah. One of our listeners brought up, do you remember we had a glove company on last year, I think, during the same time, and they had that long sleeve nitro glove.
Yeah.
I was looking for it. They were on Amazon.
Oh, yeah, they came up. It came up to your
call
elbows,
those
right?
rose gloves.
Right, but these ones were nitrile. They weren't real thick.
I don't remember that.
But those were great. I was looking for those. I'm trying to find. I'll keep looking for them. I was trying to find the name because somebody asked what the name on those was. All right, move on to another gift. Do you have something, John?
No, I just got the one big one.
Okay.
What do you want me to bring over to you?
No, I think you can leave it.
Okay.
So the next thing is these little pamphlets. The one that I brought in was hummingbirds and butterflies, but they also have ones for like identifying mushrooms, the wildflowers.
Same company?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and these are just like little information cards, but they're wonderful for a gardener to have as they're out there in the garden. They're laminated, they're folding. And, you know, when you're out there working in the yard and you see a butterfly and you want to know what it is, it's got a picture of it, it's got the name of it.
Are they regional?
Yeah, they're regional, so they kind of are specific to where you're at. So you can kind of, when you go online and shop for them, you can kind of be more region specific. If you're buying them from a garden center, they probably have the ones closest to you. But they're just, again, like fun information for a gardener to have because, you know, they're out there working in the yard and they might see something, they don't know what it is. And, you know, it's a great reminder of what you have. Or you know, my grandparents used to have a lot of bird feeders where they live. And they would put these right there by the windows because they would look outside. They would see what birds were coming, you know, to their feeders and being able to identify that. Like I say, though, but they have butterflies, they have snakes, they have mushrooms, wildflowers. Sometimes they have like trees and shrubs. So, you know, again, regional specific, but little information cards.
So if you hear a rattle and get bit by a snake, you probably don't need to refer to the pamphlet.
Or, I mean, you might because it might not just be like a Western rattlesnake. It could be some other kind of rattlesnake.
Well, it wouldn't be an Eastern diamondback. It'd be a Western diamondback, right?
Is there such thing as an Eastern diamondback?
Yeah,
Is there?
Or northern or southern.
Eastern and Western. Yes.
If we had the snake info card, maybe we would know that.
See,
right?
we're guessing right
A
now.
lot of these are great stocking stuffers.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just easy things. And then my next three, I'll group them together, are tools. So one of them is just a small pick. Can you reach that one,
That's
Brian?
my favorite.
Yeah.
I love this.
Because, you know, everybody's got the trowel. Here, put on Brian.
And,
all right,
and this is great protection, too, if you're in the garden alone.
You keep that in your driver's seat door. But you know, everybody's got the trowel. Everybody's got those little things. But sometimes you just need a small pick. You don't need a big pick to like pry up soil or dig deep or pull out a weed. It's a small handheld one. It's got the point edge
get a shot on here
and the flat edge. And, you know, easy to use, inexpensive, but maybe not in everybody's gardening arsenal. But once you have one, you'll never go back. You'll never like not have one again. And you'll probably share it with your friends because it's great to use. And then another one is just the super snips. Now, John, hold up your pruners, John. Hold it up to the camera over there right above the greenhouse there that you got.
Carla, by the way, wants to know if there's one of those cards, ID cards for gophers.
No, I don't think so.
That's what she wanted to get me for Christmas.
Yeah. All right, so those are John snips. They're like a small pruner. They have the white with the red on the handle. The other ones that I brought in are what we call like a super snip. So the pruning edge is a little bit more narrow and it's not as strong as a pruner, but they're great for deadheading. So, deadheading small annuals, small flowers, perennial flowers, maybe some roses.
Could
super
John
snips.
deadhead a gopher with
those
that?
are like floral shears.
Yeah,
right?
like floral shears. Exactly.
Yeah, for cutting, for bouquets and stuff.
That would be perfect.
Yeah.
Because like scissors are not strong enough.
No.
Sometimes pruners are like overkill.
And even if the scissors are strong enough, it dulls them right away. But sometimes your wife won't listen to you, and that's what she goes for first anyway.
No wife in particular.
we'll
No,
just
no,
leave-
no, I'm
we'll
just-
just leave that right there, huh?
Just
Any
saying.
wife. Yeah, any wife.
Or
Or husband. We better throw that in there.
Yeah.
Right.
Or
It could be
husband.
anybody.
But again, like an easy item, and this is one of those things too that probably most gardeners do have. And if you get a new pair, kind of like the nitrile gloves,
Right.
You're just like, oh, great, new pair. Throw away your old. You got a new pair. Moving on. Unless you're John, who just keeps remnants of pruners and scissors and everything else.
John also made another comment.
Which
Our listener, John,
Okay.
and he said that there's memories behind those. They're like
saw-
little,
I saw
little
that.
trophies.
Right. Even and they're dirty. They got stains on them, and you go back and look and go, oh, that's the day that I dug that hole.
Yeah. Or when you broke the tip of your pruner and you're
Yeah.
like, that's the day when I tried to use it as a pry bar.
Exactly. So I get that. Sure.
Tanya, by the way, commented when you held up the pick. Nice job, Anna.
Yeah.
Oops, I mean Brian.
Oh, you mean, yeah. Thank you for noticing that. You know what? If just about everything that you brought today, that's my Christmas.
And the last thing, do you have a dram nozzle, a gun nozzle?
I do, but it's old. It doesn't work, and it leaks.
Okay. See, but I love these.
I love
these because especially if you have like a patio, because number one, you change the stream
All the time.
on it. Number two, when you're working on a patio, you don't need it running all the time. So
Exactly.
meaning you like to be able to shut it off. And I do like the gun nozzle better than some of the, they have all these other ones with like a thumb switch and like, a twist. And I really like the gun nozzle better than any of those.
These are great.
And the Dram one, I will say, as far as like a brand, I like it because it's metal, it's durable,
Dram it.
and the plastic
commercial
ones
I would do
break
for them,
super
right?
easy. Dram it.
Dram it.
These I use. It's interesting. It's got the soaker on here. It's got the cone
Yep.
to mist.
Yep.
You can
You got
mist.
the mist.
You've got a heavy shower.
Yep. You got the flood where it's just like if you're just like watering, deep soaking a pot.
How
it just
often do you
burbles out.
use all those settings, though?
I do use them.
You know what? I'll tell you what I
do.
use. I use the shower. I use the flat, the soaker, the mist, and the jet. The jet's good for cleaning off the patio.
My number one is the shower. But
Right.
then I think my number two is the jet.
To clean.
And then my number three is the like soaker burbler one.
Yep.
And then my one that I never use is that angle. You know how like they have that
Yes.
flat angle
Yeah.
one? I never use that one. I don't know. Maybe there are people out there that use that one.
What's this fan? I don't have that on mine. There's a
Fan?
setting called fan.
That's the angle one, I think.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
It could. Well,
I
no,
don't
because here's
use it-
angle right here.
Oh.
If you're really hot,
That's
you
what
know
I-
how you
that's what
put
I'm
a fan
thinking.
in your face?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you hold it over your head.
Yeah,
it
just set
fans
it
you.
to fan and yeah.
This is great.
No
These are-
water comes out, just there.
Now,
Try it.
We didn't talk about these, or did we? Did I miss these?
Yes, you
Yeah,
did
those were
miss
the
some.
super snips. Those were the
We had a
pruners
long
talked about.
conversation about those,
We were
Brian.
comparing them to John's pruners and regular pruners. So
Just want to make sure we're not missing anything.
yeah, so I think most of those gifts are probably somewhere in the $10 to $20 range. And like I
Veronica
said,
wonders if it's legal to keep that pick in your car.
Why not?
There's probably all kinds of weird rules.
Why not?
Why not?
Well, yeah.
Road rage.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Just hold it up.
Yeah. So I don't know. Those are fun things that if somebody bought me those, I would definitely appreciate
I
them.
would use everything there.
And I would either replace my old one that I had or I would use it eventually.
Right.
Like I'd have no
Now,
problem.
now the other thing, and you touched on it briefly in the very beginning, but didn't bring it in, is soil.
oh yeah.
That's the icing on the cake is soil.
Yeah.
Because if you have soil, you can utilize.
Don't mix it up with icing. I mean, it's, no matter how good the soil is,
It's not going to be good on a
You don't
it's
think?
not good on a cake.
You
no.
don't think?
No.
Why do you always argue?
Have you tried it? Have you? You don't knock it till you try it, John.
John would say, you know what? In all my life, I've never, ever even tried that. I've never done that, ever.
Because I'm so much better than you.
Yeah, exactly. Smartest guy in the room, right?
You forgot to add that part.
When he walks in. Okay, we're going to take a break. We're going to stay on time. Yes, hope you're having a good time as we kind of a different show today, kind of a Christmas gift idea. We've got to, wait till we get to John's little project. That's going to be fun. That's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to take a break.
Looking forward to the fun.
Looking forward to the fun. A break, messages, Fertilome coming up next here on Biz Talk Radio. All righty, we are back. And those on Biz Talk Radio, this is the final segment of hour number 1, which means news coming up. Top of the hour, we come back hour 2, 6 minutes after. Facebook Live, one long continuous loop. We just keep on going. So where do you want to go from here?
What about this beautiful anthurium that's here, Tiger?
That's not real.
Right?
It's plastic, John. Take a
I
look.
brought that in just for decoration.
Feels like plastic.
It
It's
looks
shiny.
plastic,
It
right?
looks fake.
Anthuriums?
It's not fake.
No, it's as real as can be.
Yeah.
I like the color
Beautiful.
combo, like that deep red. To me.
Yeah. There's so many new hybrids on
Yes.
anthuriums, right?
Yes.
There's even doubles out there now.
What's the? I don't think I've ever seen a double.
Yeah.
Is it like double the red part?
The red part is called a spathe, right?
I don't know.
The center's the spadix.
Called a flower to me.
It's a
Well,
pretty
the flowers are on the spadix, and the red part is called the spathe, and there's two. There's a smaller spathe that goes the other direction on the doubles. You looking it up, see if you can
I
get
am.
a picture.
Oh wow! It's like a little mini flower on the
Yeah.
big flower.
Yeah, it's like a piggyback anthurium.
Yes. Oh, that is cool looking, and it goes the other way.
Yeah.
That is neat.
Yeah, why didn't you bring one of those in?
Yeah.
I know, why didn't
What
I?
What were you
I
thinking?
didn't even know they existed.
And I don't know if I mentioned this last week or not, but I was actually at Albertsons, and they had a black-leaved anthurium, and the flower was black.
What?
And it was,
Is that real? I mean,
I thought twice, I really should buy this, but I couldn't think of an excuse for when I got home.
so what did they? And you don't need an excuse for
Just
that.
put it
because,
in your library and she'll never know.
So who's ever seen that before?
It's the perfect plant to darken up a bright corner.
Yeah, exactly.
Black. What did they? That sounds like somebody put
I mean,
a lab coat on and went into the.
And you think maybe just dark red? No, this
Black.
was black. Black.
Well,
And that with the black leaves.
Yeah, and with those ones, obviously, they're all grown in greenhouses, but they control their environment so much that
No, this was grown
I think
in a-
that's why they make that.
that
color.
was grown in a black house.
Yeah, exactly.
No, the new hybrids are those different colors, no matter where they're grown.
Well, no, but I'm just saying, like this was grown. This anthurium was grown in a greenhouse,
Right.
And that's why they get these really good colors, is because they know how to control the environment for it. If I was to keep this in my home for a while, it's not going to look as good, I don't think, down the road. What do you think? I mean, you think it just holds that color?
Yeah,
Oh, really?
absolutely.
All right.
That's
Until it turns
beautiful,
brown.
until I kill
Goes
it.
from red to brown.
Something dug up all my what was the plants? I brought them in. We had a guy from Florida.
Caladium.
Caladiums. Some animal dug them all up in my garden this week.
You have
I just
voles.
noticed it.
Voles.
It's not voles.
Voles.
So annoying.
Well, what are the characteristics? Did you see claw marks?
Well, they have like potato kind of roots. So I think maybe they're eating them. I don't know.
They're technically called tubers,
Tubers.
like a
Technically.
potato.
Like a potato.
Yeah.
See? Yeah.
From the tuber family.
Yeah. They have
All right.
eyes.
Many eyes.
Yeah.
Several eyes. Because you know why? The eyes have it. Right?
Can we talk about John's gift?
Do you know my green planet's 21 years old? All right, here we go.
Is it really?
Yeah, 2004 it was at the auction. 21
Wow.
years ago. And it looks beautiful.
Tanya said that she's listening to the show with earbuds on
Oh.
because she's sitting next to her 6-year-old grandson. He's playing Minecraft.
And we're talking a lot of inappropriate nonsense.
And she says she keeps laughing and he keeps saying, "What's so funny?" That's a good point. What is so funny?
What is so funny?
Yeah.
I'm being very serious right now.
So is it time? We've got about 4 minutes until the break, and then on the other side.
I thought we would do that on the other side.
Yeah, because
that's why I brought up the plant and
the first segment's 10 minutes. So
and someone commented that flowering plants were a great gift idea. Tiger, have you noticed whether or not poinsettias are increasing or decreasing or staying the same in sales? And the reason I ask is 90% of the sales used to be red poinsettias.
Yeah.
And now there's so many different colors, and they last for such a long time. I didn't know if that kept the sales up there, increased them, or what's going on.
I would say that from a independent garden center standpoint, poinsettia sales are decreasing from selling from us. But I'll also say that you can go to a grocery store, a mass merchant, CVS, and you can buy them now, where that was not the case before.
Right.
So I don't know if across the board the industry is increasing.
You're saying there's more choices to where to buy them.
Correct.
So that like a place like yours may decrease.
Correct.
But
isn't there a difference in quality?
Oh, huge difference in quality.
Yeah.
And huge difference in price. And also, you mentioned the colors, and I hate to say it, but that's actually hindered the ability to kind of get these other colors in. Meaning, because everybody's just producing a gazillion red ones, it doesn't leave room or the price point for some of those really unique, fun colors that were coming out so strongly at the end of the peak in the garden center, because we used to have like hot cocoa or something flavored, colored one where they would it was speckled red and white, or
Jingle Bells was the first.
Jingle Bells and different forms of white, like a polar bear white and a white, and all these colors that really made really unique.
That amazed
plants.
me, by the way, since you mentioned white. We always used to sell white poinsettias, and they were really cream colored, or like a light yellow. But now they have white, pure white,
like real
poinsettias.
White. Yeah. But yeah, you don't see it, and it's because, number one, those ones probably cost a little bit more from like a production standpoint. Number two, they just have flooded the market with the red poinsettia, so therefore you just kind of have that. And then, when I talked about quality, I mean, it's so funny. I mean, name drop, Home Depot has their little Black Friday poinsettia where you can go and get a 6-inch one for like $3 or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. It's the size of a 4-inch poinsettia, if not smaller. And I hate to say it, but it's not like another plant. Like, for instance, this anthurium. If I was to buy a 4-inch anthurium, I can grow it out to a big, beautiful plant. A poinsettia, if I buy a dinky little poinsettia, chances are I'm not growing it out to a big, beautiful plant.
Yeah.
By the time Christmas hits, like, it's a plant. Eventually it will grow.
Maybe next Christmas.
Yeah, next Christmas, whatever. But like, it's not like I'm buying a young little plant and then one day I'm going to have a big plant ready
that
for.
Makes sense.
I want it for Christmas. So meaning when you buy a poinsettia, you're going to buy the poinsettia that you have for what you want it, meaning you don't buy it beforehand.
Got to take a break. News coming up top of the hour for Biz Talk Radio. We're going to come back with John's little experiment here, right, John?
I have some more poinsettia comments.
And some more poinsettia comments.
Yeah.
Do stay with us. This is Garden America. Happy couple of 2 or 3 days after Thanksgiving. Back after the news and these messages on Biz Talk Radio. We are back. Facebook Live, Biz Talk Radio, hour number 2. In case you missed the first hour, you can watch it later on this afternoon on our YouTube channel, Garden America Radio Show. All kinds of ways. Alexa will play our latest episode as well on the Alexa podcast, Garden America podcast. So there you go. Covered all bases.
I have a rose called poinsettia.
Is it red?
It is red.
Is it an older rose?
It's
been
very
around
confusing.
for a while?
It is an older rose.
Yeah.
I think from the 40s, maybe.
Does it bloom in Christmas?
40s or 50s. One of the reasons I'm thankful that I live in California is I've got hundreds, if not thousands, of rose blooms right now. And you were mentioning
weather.
on your Green Planet how it looked
got
as good as any time during the year.
Yeah, I've got five right now.
Little cooler weather, a little bit of moisture. Things just took off, huh?
Yeah, they appreciate the weather. The one problem I have, though, is as the sun begins to shift, the north side of my house shades where the poinsettias are. So some of the varieties that are susceptible to mildew are getting mildew, but I'm not doing anything because that'll help them go dormant. In California, and in the southern states, it doesn't get cold enough for the plants, the roses, to go dormant. So you just stop watering them, let them, don't deadhead them, leave the hips on.
Yeah.
And when you do get a couple chilly nights, the leaves will fall off, or if they get mildew or something, they'll fall off.
Yeah.
And they'll get a brief rest period.
Perfect.
You like to call it a respite, don't you?
Yes, a brief respite. That sounds
Like
something that doesn't sound right about a respite.
because that's what it is. It's taking time out. It's a pause.
Oh, okay.
So
What was I going to say about
Poinsettias?
the
poinsettia
before?
comments, and then
God, there was one poinsettia I wanted to ask Tiger a question about.
Oh, an actual variety.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's funny, and maybe this will make you remember it, is back in the day, Paul Ecke was the poinsettia producer. And you can tell the difference in quality of a poinsettia because of how many stems were like in the pot, right? There was something involving.
Oh, that's what I was going to
Was
ask
it?
you. No, not that exactly, but that jogged my memory is that you were talking about saving the poinsettia from one year
yeah.
to the next. And Brian, you remember years ago when Bruce Asakawa was on the show, one of the topics every year was how to get your poinsettia to bloom again, right?
yeah, exactly.
And the new varieties are not daylight sensitive.
Yeah, right.
So they don't have to be black cloth. They'll just naturally come into bloom this time of the year.
Yeah, like if you were to plant it in the garden, it's just going to naturally do
Right.
its thing. Where the old poinsettias, you could plant it in your garden, but it wouldn't turn red until like January or February, right?
Right.
So, like you say, the new ones can do that by themselves, and they stay more compact. Remember, you used to go to someone's house and they'd have like a poinsettia floppy tree kind of a thing.
There were, I'm trying to think, Henrietta Haig, I believe, was the variety that they grew outdoors.
Uh-huh.
And that was the big, it's kind of a double flower, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're huge.
Huge.
On the end, a huge flower on the end of a 10-foot stem flopping over.
Yeah. Like it's like a pencil-sized stem,
Right.
like leaning over, and there's this massive flower
Yeah.
at the end of it. Yeah.
And the last time I saw those sold was at Widener's.
Oh,
I don't know if they still do those or
I
not.
doubt it.
But anyway, you were talking about Ecke and how they used to grow single stem poinsettias.
Right.
So if you had a 3-bloom poinsettia or a 4-bloom, there were 4 plants or 3 plants in that pot.
in that pot.
But now they're all pinched, right?
Right. Yeah, they're all just grown differently, and then like I said with the quality, like if you're gonna buy a poinsettia and it's 5 inches tall, that's your poinsettia because from now until Christmas, it doesn't grow another foot, a foot and a half.
That's it.
No matter how much care you give it. And so
Once it's in color,
it's
there's
there.
no growing at all.
Yeah.
It's just that's as big as it'll get.
Yeah, and so people say like, "Oh, well, why is this poinsettia way more than that one?" It's like, well, look at them side by side. This one grew for half the time, so the grower spent half the investment in getting it to there.
Grower. If it's a grower, it's already done.
It's already been done.
Yeah. By the way, Kevin brings up on the poinsettia topic again about the. I haven't even seen him for a while. I'm trying to think of what it was called. The one that looked like a rosebud.
Oh, the like rose. Yeah, it was like a curled
Yeah.
flower.
What were
yeah.
those called? Curly poinsettias.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. They had a name. But the marketing back then was to be able to sell those for Valentine's too, and it never worked. Nobody wanted to.
It's not a Valentine's.
Right, even if it was curly, nobody wanted it for Valentine's.
Winter rose.
Winter rose, yeah.
Yeah.
Winter rose poinsettias.
Well, and then
And they
even
came out red, then they came out in different colors,
Yeah,
right?
and then remember they had the orange one that they were trying to sell for Thanksgiving.
I always
It
liked
was
that.
pumpkin something.
Pumpkin pie.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they might have changed the name. Yeah. But I remember, actually, my son Joe came up with the name pumpkin pie when we were touring the Ecke greenhouses and saw it for the very first time.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh.
So anyway, enough poinsettia talk.
All right. Are we ready to talk about
your
gift?
We got about 5 minutes until the break. We can get started. Sure.
Well, first of all, let me tell you where you can get this. If you are interested, I bought mine on Amazon, and it's a rooting humidor that has everything you need, including a mat for bottom heat. And the whole thing is $80 on Amazon. So if you look up, I think if you just Google AC Infinity, what's it called? Rooting chamber?
I'll look it up.
Okay. Anyway, $80. And what impresses me about this so much is that in the winter, it's almost impossible for me to root a rose cutting. It would take 2 to 3 months. And then I would say if I put in 100 cuttings, I might get 7. So it's like 7%, are going to root during that time.
So 6 months.
They don't die. They wait to die till, just when you think they're still alive. They might even put out some leaves, right. And then the bottom turns black.
You said 6 months, right? Roughly speaking?
2 to 3.
Oh, 2 to 3 months.
2 to 3 months.
I know how long this takes.
How long?
2 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks. That's
right.
huge.
And it's unbelievable. And we'll go through the process, but I want to open one up and show you.
And what is the percentage of those that survive?
Under these?
Yes.
Well, so far I've had about 80% root.
That's
in 2 to 3 weeks, which is amazing. And roses are very difficult. Other things you can put in and root in no time at all. So if you've got soft tissue houseplants you want to root, very easy to root. Mums, seedlings, if you want to plant your vegetable garden and you want to start tomatoes in the spring, you can use this type of setup anywhere in the country.
Wow.
And I think we mentioned the reason I thought this would be a really good setup was because marijuana growers use it.
Yep, and they know what they're doing.
And they know the best way to root or grow anything. So let me see if I can.
Germination kit.
Is that what it's called? A
germination?
Germination?
Germination kit. I'm going to share the link.
Oh, okay. Great.
And it's $67.19 right now.
What?
Black Friday.
Full kit. It used to be $83.99.
I paid $80 for mine. Now the one you mentioned includes the heating pad.
Heating
yeah,
pad,
that's it.
And everything.
It's Black Friday. Is what it is.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you should have waited.
No, I'm thinking, do I need 2?
Of course, course.
Because it comes with the lights, the LED lights, and you think, well, maybe I don't want this on my kitchen counter. I've got this on a shelf in the garage.
Maybe you do need 2.
I'm thinking.
Go ahead. You know what? Tiger bite for him. Just hit the button.
Let me tell you what you're going to get me.
Shannon, just hit the button.
Well, I can do rebuy on Amazon, right? Yeah. Buy again.
Yeah, buy again. Here's your history.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to...
Okay, you know what, though? We got to take a break.
All right, in meantime...
This is perfect.
Meantime, while we're on the break, I'm going to pull out one that I put in 3 weeks ago, and we'll see what it looks like.
All right, Facebook Live, here we go. Pay close attention to your computer monitors, your TVs, however you're watching us here on Facebook Live. We'll take a break for our friends on Biz Talk Radio. You just listen very closely with your ears as Garden America continues on this post-Thanksgiving weekend from Thanksgiving. Back after these messages. We have returned from the break, Biz Talk Radio, Facebook Live. Here comes the meat and potatoes of the show, which you've all been waiting for.
We've already talked about Thanksgiving.
The fun, yes.
So what I did was I pulled out a cutting. Tiger's going to show it to the camera. He'll show you what the plant looks like in 2 to 3 weeks. We'll go into how to take that cutting here in a second. But
2 to 3 weeks. That's very impressive.
So
Look at
you
that.
just cut off a stem, stuck it in this, and then in 2 to 3 weeks, it's got roots.
We're going to go into that, but basically that's it. I dip it in the rooting hormone, which we'll go into, but look at that.
Those are big roots.
And then
It's a miracle.
it's a miracle of nature.
It is. I love it.
And then you go from that. When you transplant them, you get. I tried both liners and gallons, and it doesn't seem to matter. I put the liners and tried to acclimate it to outdoor temperatures, and that's what Tiger's holding up now. But then I also stuck it in a 1 gallon can and put it direct outside, and it didn't seem to matter. It's just doing fine.
No roots coming out of the bottom of these ones yet. They're
no.
slacking off, huh? Come on. Let's get going on this growing. Now, what do you call that peat, the rapid rooter peat plant starter is what you put the cutting in. You planted those in this soil here, but I don't see it. So you kind of buried it a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I just dropped the whole thing in the soil. I'm going to go into that. Those started, I got the idea, rather than use soil, I wondered if it would be easier to use they're peat pellets with a binder.
They
And
look like a little sponge.
yeah, they're really cool. I ordered those on Amazon also.
I want to take it apart, but I won't.
Please don't take it apart.
I know. Right?
You just want to pull it.
Sure.
Like, yeah, see what happens.
It's so soft. You just want to
It is.
squeeze the moisture out of it.
What medium do you use, John, for the cuttings?
This is what
I don't.
we're,
That's what I'm
This is what
using.
we're talking about. It's
And that's-
rapid rooter.
And it's peat moss with a binder in it to hold it together.
Well, that's why you don't want them to tear it apart.
Yeah. And there's a little hole in the center that you can, if you're growing seeds, you can stick the seed in there. Or if you're growing a cutting, you can prepare the cutting and stick the cutting right in there.
It's sphagnum peat moss and binder. That's all it is. This is in Georgia, this product contains 89 to 99% sphagnum peat moss and foam binder.
What about South Carolina?
I don't know. It just says Georgia.
Georgia might have a requirement to keep that. Okay, how do you prepare the cutting to go in there?
All right.
So, let's see. Where's the best way to show this?
Just right there, right where you're at.
Right in front
Right.
of
You got 2 cameras on you.
Oh, okay.
I'll work them.
All right, so this is by the way, that rose that I showed you the roots on, that Tiger was showing, was one of Alistair Clark's roses. And Alistair Clark, Brian, you know, is the most famous Australian rose breeder.
From Sydney.
Was he in Sydney? Mm-hmm. He was, huh? And that was in the 30s and 40s.
Born in Brisbane.
And a lot of, he was nowhere near Perth, though,
Vacationing.
vacationing. He named his roses after racehorses or women. Those were his 2 favorite
Are you,
sources.
are you asking me?
we
No,
can
both.
We could play a game. Racehorse or woman?
Or woman, right. Hey, check out those hips.
Exactly.
The
That's a
hips-
racehorse or
hips
woman.
have not formed. Okay, if you're going to make a cutting of a rose, the first thing you have to do is make sure that the cuttings are ready to root, and that means pick a stem that's already flowered and the petals have dropped, which is the case of this one here.
And those look perfect. You've got old flowers at the end of the tips. They're all brown, and it's looking
I've got about
pretty
3 or 4
ripe.
roses at home that look just like that.
Yep.
All right, well, they're ready to root, Brian.
All right.
Okay, then
Okay.
I always find that if I take speaking of hips, a hip cutting, which is where the crotch of a rose is.
Mm-hmm.
The reason that you do, if you make a cutting where it joins the stem,
Ouch, that looks painful.
this area has a lot of cells that can differentiate into roots.
Oh,
More
Right where,
so-
right where it splits.
because it's already splitting.
Right.
It's already
Yeah.
doing a lot of different things.
Right,
there.
and you'll see a little callus there.
Yes.
And so that area, will get you the most roots.
Not just in the middle of the
Right.
of a stem, somewhere where it's already doing some different work.
Right.
Got it.
So I cut that off. Then I cut off the top because you don't need that anymore.
So that dead flower gone.
Right.
Yep.
And then I pull off some of the bottom leaves. And then
And let me describe this. So that cutting that you have in your hand right now is about 6 inches long.
right.
Okay. And it's got only
Look at that. That is so simple.
5, maybe 6 leaves on it now. Do you
Right.
need to leave a leaf? Or
You
could
know,
you do
the-
0 leaves?
You could do 0, but the leaves photosynthesize. And so they get the plant working
They kind of get it like a
and
let's
get the
going.
get the auxins and the hormones going through the plant. Now, once you've made that cutting, there's 2 things you need to do. If it's a sizable cutting, and this is right on the borderline, you can do it the Chinese way. And what they will do is they'll make a perpendicular cut to the base,
So straight up the bottom.
straight up on the bottom. Then they'll separate that and stick a grain of rice in there. And the reason you do that is the more area that's exposed to soil and air, the more places there are for roots to come out.
So you've opened it up.
Yeah. And the other thing that I do is I don't always cut that way if the stems are smaller, but I'll take either a grafting knife or just sharp pruning shears like this, and I'll slice the side, both opposite sides.
So it's almost like you're sharpening a pencil. Like
Yeah,
all the way-
that's
just
a
both-
good
but-
description.
But just all the way around, or just both sides?
No, just
2
both sides,
So
not
not
all
all the way around like a
Right.
pencil.
Okay.
Now, I also need to tell you that probably one of the most successful people that I know for rooting rose cuttings is Greg Lowry at Vintage Gardens. And he's rooted tens of thousands of roses, and all he does is just cut straight across at the bottom.
Yeah.
But Greg Lowry has
Right.
magic hands.
If you're not Greg Lowry, this is what works best for me. So then,
But
also-
you don't put the rice in there or split it
No, I have done the rice before, and I do split it sometimes.
sometime.
Right. My thought is if you cut straight across, there's less area for roots to come out. They'll just come out that little tiny area in the bottom. If you cut on the side, you get the sides. If you split it, you can get the inside. But anyway, also available online
Clonex,
is Clonex, which is a rooting hormone.
rooting hormone.
And you just dip the cutting into there.
Oh, it's like a gel. This
Yeah.
one's a gel.
We got to take a quick break here. Hold on. Hold that thought. Don't even move. That's
Don't
how fast
even say
we're coming
anything.
back. Back after these messages on Biz Talk Radio, Facebook Live. Stay right there. Okay, we are back. Quick break on Facebook Live, a bit longer on Biz Talk Radio, but picking up where we left off with John.
Okay, we left off with dipping the cutting in Clonex, right?
About so a 6-inch cutting, and you've dipped about 1.5 inches.
And the
2
cutting
inches.
can be any size. You know, I have a friend in the LA area that has been doing one bud cuttings. So he would just take one little bud with a leaf where the leaf attaches and root them that way. But whoops, almost got
You know, you've
Clonex on your
you've talked about several different little ways to do this. You don't have to do it that way.
right.
It sounds like it's almost foolproof, whichever way you decide to do it.
Yeah, remember we always
Except chewing it and then spitting it
Yeah,
into the
I
peat.
mean,
That
you
doesn't
might
work.
get it by the pencil method or splitting the bottom. You may get more root growth, but basically, what you're doing is very simple.
All right. Yes.
you think?
I agree. But then all you do after you've dipped it in there is there's a hole in the center of this
And
little
this is
peat
the
pot.
rapid rooter
Right.
starter.
And I just stick it in there like that. And
Done.
then from here,
Wait, how do you stick it in there? What do you do? Just stick it
There's
right in
a-
That
there's a
hole
hole.
is pre-made. That's
The
a
hole is
pre-made
pre-made.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
so I
exactly.
just push this down and it'll root the same way that
Do you have a slow motion instant replay that we can play just real quickly if I'm doing that?
and then this variety of rose is from Japan. I think it was in the maybe the 70s.
Now, this is a
It's a rose called Lady Beauty.
and this is a very important part of this step because it's very easy, or not very easy, but I will say, you can do what John just did, but unless you label this thing, you will completely forget
Which
what
one
it is.
it is.
And I've even
But
done
some people might not care.
right, but I've even done things where it's like I'm going to do this row, and I'm just going to do the tag in the beginning. Well, 4 weeks later, 5 weeks later, somehow I've mixed them all up, and now I don't know what any of them are. So labeling is very important.
Right.
Yeah, it's important to me. So anyway, I stick the, just write out a label in pencil, stick it behind here, and then I'll put it in the rooting dome.
Now,
And
in the rooting dome,
2 to 3 weeks later, I should have roots, and I can take it and put it in a larger pot. One thing to remember is don't panic. All these leaves that you see on the plant now will turn yellow and fall off.
okay.
And I usually use tongs to pull the dead leaves out and keep it clean in there because you don't want them rotting
And disease.
and diseases to form and stuff.
Sounds like a
like
great
now-
little short YouTube video, doesn't it?
In the rooting dome, are there cells for it to be held upright in?
Yeah, there's you can root 40 different plants at one time this
Okay.
way. And you don't have to use these little pots. You could use seed starting soil
mix.
or a sterile medium, and you could put more than one cutting per
In there.
cell. But this is the way
And-
that I like for what I'm doing.
Let's talk about the germination thing now. So that heater pad, is it all one
The
temperature?
bottom heat is extremely important in kind of semi-hardwood cuttings because the plants will frequently, or the cuttings will usually rot before they have a chance to root. But with bottom heat, that encourages the rooting.
And is there like a one temperature on it, or I think there's a little dial to like increase or decrease the heat,
Yeah, you can increase or decrease, and I always set mine to medium.
like a medium.
And that's not for any reason. It's because I didn't know what to do.
It
And-
sounds to me
and
like
so-
you've had more success with this than the turkey
Oh,
over
yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Much more.
And yours is inside your garage. Where did you keep?
Right, in the garage.
Okay. And so, you just remove the lid of the little germination dome. You've got the cells already in there. And then you put it just in one of the spots. Now, how do you water them once they're in there, John? Like, because that little peat was damp. That little peat already is damp.
They
it's
come
wet.
pre-moistened.
Right.
And that was a great question because in the bottom, underneath the tray, you can lift the tray up and you put in I forget if it's 8 ounces or 16 ounces of water.
Mm-hmm.
And you keep that in there. That keeps the humidity up
Okay.
and keeps the
The peat damp.
damp. And,
So
and
because if
moist.
that dries out.
So you get the right amount of water and air in there.
You don't want it to dry out.
Yeah, because if that dries out.
Don't want it to get too
it's
dry.
going to
Right.
really hinder the root growth.
Or kill the plant.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I will occasionally, speaking of stocking stuffers, Tiger, I forget if it was for my birthday or sometimes I save your Christmas presents for a couple years before I use them. But I think you gave me this HB 101.
Uh-huh.
So I have this little spray bottle that I put some HB 101 in, and then I'll just spray the leaves. HB 101 also
like a
encourages
foliar
rooting.
spray.
Yeah.
All right.
And also, if I'm doing
Now-
a whole tray at one time, sometimes I'll let the cuttings sit in there before I dip them in the rooting hormone.
Now, you did say that those leaves are going to fall off, though. So do you spray with HB 101 right away when you do it?
Right.
Or do you wait till the leaves fall off and when the new leaves emerge?
No. I try to encourage rooting, so.
So it's right away you do it. So this is not like you wait for the leaves to fall off and then apply the HB 101.
Correct.
Okay.
So you can see these side by side. The one with the tag is one I've just done, and the other one I did 2 weeks later. Now, the one I'm holding, be my right, Would it be your left?
The left as you're watching the
one
monitor.
with, you can say the one with roots.
The one with roots.
Yes, there you go.
The one with roots, these are all new leaves on here.
Oh.
So the old ones have fallen off and they've been replaced with new leaves.
Now, you've said in the past when rooting roses that, sometimes you can have new leaves develop and then you pull it out and there isn't one root and it's beginning to rot at the bottom. The nice thing about this is that you're actually seeing the roots. So there's no question about whether this cutting is rooted or not because you see that it's rooted. Because, sometimes it's that false hope of like, oh, look at, they're growing. I'm happy. Yay. And then you go to pull it out and it's rotted and dead.
I've had cuttings set bud and bloom.
Yeah.
And they're dead.
And no
Yeah.
roots.
But
no
this
roots,
one,
no
you
roots, and
actually
they
see the
turn
roots.
black. Yeah.
Yeah.
And as soon as you see the roots, you can just pick the whole thing up and put it in another pot.
Got it.
I'm looking at one kind of like through the foliage here. You've got some serious thorns on one of those, John, right?
Yeah, you know what? I leave the thorns on too because when you push it down into the peat pot,
It's like a barb. It holds itself.
yeah, it kind of anchors it in there. And when you want to pull it up
Yeah.
to look at it, it doesn't slip out.
Yeah.
It just pulls it on.
No, that's a good idea.
So let's see if we have any questions on that process.
You have some vents on the side of the.
Oh, there's
little-
vents on the side and the
Circulation,
top.
right, John?
Yeah, on the side is an extender where the side vents are. You don't have to use the extender. You can use just the top down on that if you're using small cuttings or if you were doing seedlings. You would just take the extender out. But I just crack those vents and keep it, 100% humidity in there. And it works pretty good.
We have a lot of questions and comments. How much time do we have left of this
Well,
show?
we've got about 2.5 minutes, and then after this, the short segment, which is about 8 minutes.
All right.
So
Now-
get to as many as you can.
Well, one question here that I don't know is Bill and Elaine in San Diego want to know if they can get Fortuniana to root that way.
80%, like what you're having
Because
success with.
Fortuniana root is used as a rootstock. It's a great rootstock, but it's extremely difficult to get rooted. And I think one of the reasons in San Diego is the weather, because if the weather is cool in the winter, they won't root at all. They need warmth to root. But if you're using the pad, the heating pad on the bottom,
You control the heat.
yeah, I think that might work. So I know Bill just bought one, so let me know if it works because I'll try to supply you with rootstock too. Were there some other questions on that?
Yes. I was just pulling it up again. Sorry, I'm trying to look at who it was.
Oh, Sherry wants to know if you have a link for those peat pellets.
I'll post that.
Okay, those were also, Sherry, on Amazon, and they're just called Rapid Rooter peat pellets.
Sounds like a plumbing company.
Peat pellet rapid. It is like Rapid Rooter, right?
Yeah, right.
Isn't it a?
Our
Margaret asked, or just this is like a little off-topic question, but I wanted to address it. There's some talk about bees getting into oleander, and is that really happening? And do they make honey from it?
We got to take a break real quick.
Okay.
Back with that question.
Margaret,
One more
we'll be
segment
back.
coming up. Get as many questions in as we can here on Garden America, taking a break for Biz Talk Radio. Stay with us. Okay, we are back. Very quick show, just like that. This is the final segment as we get to your questions, your comments here on what has been happening this morning. Tiger?
Margaret was asking about oleanders and bees, and oleanders are toxic, and they don't produce nectar, so bees don't go to oleanders. And if there's any talk of bees going to oleander, I think that would probably not. It might be a different. There's a lot of plants that will claim a name oleander. What's that yellow one? Thavitia.
Thavitia.
And then there's Nerium, and so they might be.
Nerium's true oleander.
Right, that's what I'm saying. There's different. So they might be saying, oh, well, the bees are going to this one, but it's not maybe a Nerium, which is a true oleander.
And also the toxin that's in oleanders is not past through roots, or like if you used oleander mulch around your plants, you don't have to worry about poisoning the soil or
Right.
being taken up by vegetables or anything nearby.
Right. And bees would naturally stay away from it because they don't produce a nectar, and unlike for instance, like a monarch butterfly and Asclepias have a relationship, and it makes the monarch goes to Asclepias, has a relationship with that plant because now it gets the toxicity from the Asclepias, and now when things eat monarch caterpillars and
Right.
butterflies, they get sick and they learn not
Right.
to eat those things.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's any concerns of oleanders killing bees.
Carla said that she would assume this is for indoor use only. No, it could be used outdoors because, like I said, mine's in a garage. The only thing is you'd have to make sure it was covered because you don't want it getting rained on, and you don't want direct sunlight going into it because it would heat it up too hot.
Oh yeah.
But you could put it on a covered patio on a bench or something, and that would be no problem.
Oh, and then Margaret asked, kind of like what you were saying, John, would the honey from the oleander be poisonous? And no, because number
Right.
one, bees don't get nectar from oleander.
Right.
And number two, it doesn't pass.
Right.
on.
So don't worry, Marguerite.
Yeah. I like Paula's, my latest new tool, a Scotty dog, dug her first mole this week. Ah, that's
There you go.
a gift that keeps on giving
Yep.
right there.
I'm looking for on trying to catch number 57 right now, up to 56 on moles.
Let's see here. Poinsettias.
Carla says, Brian, you need to make a YouTube video on this.
Yeah, Brian. Get to work, Brian.
Here we go.
And, our good buddy from the San Diego Botanic Garden, John Clements,
The
pointed out,
pencils and labels.
I was
Yeah.
looking.
always
what was
use
his
a
comment?
pencil. That's a great tip. Never use Sharpies.
They'll smudge, right?
Well, they fade.
They'll
They
fade.
fade and they
You
get-
put a Sharpie in the sun, and 3 months
Yeah.
later, you have no idea what it says.
Elisa's asking, can you use a powder stimulant?
Oh, a rooting hormone.
Like a rooting hormone powder.
You can, Lisa, but I just find this is easier because on the powder, which is all I've used really up until I just switched over to Hormex, on the powder you have to shake off the excess because too much of the powder will actually stop roots from forming. So rather than, and this is so much cleaner and easier.
This
Just
is simple.
dip it in. Somebody, let's see, I passed it, but somebody had mentioned that there's no reason you couldn't have 3. When I said maybe I need one more,
Yeah, there's no reason.
because you got
Besides
your
Shannon,
birthday,
there's-
you've got Christmas.
Well, I think there's one for every section of your house. You have the garage. You can have the bench out in the patio.
No, I could put 2 or 3 in the garage
Oh.
on shelves with no
The-
problem.
The possibilities are endless.
But if it's only taken 2 to 3 weeks and you can do 40 plants at a time,
Here's the thing. People, most people are into instant gratification. You see 2 to 3 weeks. That's fun.
yeah.
That's like growing a radish.
But 2 to 3 months,
Yeah, exactly.
Now,
You know,
here's
that's
a
not
question.
fun.
Here's a question for you, John. Could you leave that too long? Like, could you leave your cutting in there for too long? Because right now we're getting into
there-
December and it's going to get cold.
Well, that's why I showed you the 2 in the beginning. One was in a liner, and I thought going from, a heated 100% humidity to outdoors where it's cold,
Yeah.
it might need to be acclimated. So I tried doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But the one that's in the gallon went directly outside in the gallon, and it's been fine.
But even as we get into January and February, our coldest months, and someone who lives somewhere where it might
Oh,
get
if
a
you
little
live
chilly.
somewhere where it's really cold, yeah, you'd want to wait. It's just like
And-
if you live back east and you want to use it for propagating your tomatoes and peppers,
you're not going to start them now,
you're going to wait till like March or April.
and then you can start them,
Right.
Because otherwise, they'll start curling up in the dome and growing
Right.
out, and
Yeah.
you'll get. What was that? Hello, Seymour. What was what was the name of the plant? Do you remember? Little Shop of Horrors.
Yes. Was it Seymour? No.
Seymour was the shopkeeper, wasn't he? Yeah, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you imagine going into your basement, like in the Midwest, and you got this little greenhouse, and then this plant is just growing all out
All
of
over
it?
the place.
Yeah.
A bit of advice: if there's a lot of people that are thinking of buying one of these, since it is on sale on Amazon, they may sell out quickly. So you might want to
Yeah.
We got about a minute,
order
guys.
it right away. A minute for what?
The show. That's it.
What?
Yes.
Oh my gosh!
Lots
I
of
was
good
going to
info.
tell you the most important part. I guess we'll have to wait a couple weeks.
Yeah, because we are off next week, right?
We're off next week, but
And
we're that week after.
And then we can do some post
Yep.
conversation on this if we need to.
Yeah, we'll start. We'll start doing some more follow up stuff on the cuttings and
Right.
other tips.
So there you go. We trust you had a good Thanksgiving. As boy, we're heading into, really seriously heading into the Christmas season now.
Yeah.
Even though they've been
Audrey.
trying to sell you things since September.
Tanya says Audrey was the name of the
Oh,
little
the plant?
shop of horse
Yeah.
plant.
leave it up to our listeners and viewers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully this has been a very educational show for you. Thank John and Tiger for bringing everything in this morning. Again, we're off next week, back the following week. Have a safe weekend. Be safe. We'll see you in 2 weeks here on Garden America. Take care. We'll talk more about this and maybe some. Would you consider
talk
this
gardening.
Okay, we got it.
Music.
All right,
Gardening.
2 weeks here on Garden America. Stay with us.